Tonight on Nebraska Nightly. A local man is arrested for trespassing in a hospital.
The Department of Justice says Lincoln Public Schools must compensate some parents for ADA violations.
And Lincoln sees snow for the first time in weeks. What will this weekend's weather look like?
This is Nebraska Nightly.
Live from the Don and Lorena Meyer studio at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln College of Journalism and Mass Communications, this is Nebraska Nightly.
Welcome to Nebraska Nightly. I'm Elena Tomish.
And I'm Peyton Polad.
Our top story tonight, a Nebraska Nightly exclusive. Imagine you just bought a new pickup truck only to find it stolen 2 weeks later. This is the nightmare for a Lincoln College student on Tuesday. The 2019 Ford F-150 was stolen in a North Lincoln neighborhood and used technology to find it. The tracking device found the truck in Omaha. The Ford dealer says the suspect drove over 100 miles per hour the entire drive from Lincoln to Omaha. The man that stole the vehicle left a trash bag full of clothes, food, his Medicaid card, and a bottle of Tabasco. Also inside, tools that were used to break in the vehicle. The owner left his key fob in the car. The tracking device led the owner to an Omaha neighborhood, and he's recovered the vehicle. We're currently checking with the authorities on if they've identified the suspect.
The U.S. Supreme Court appeared skeptical of the effort to disqualify Donald Trump from a state primary ballot because of the events on January 6, 2021. Section 3 of the 14th Amendment is what the historic dispute coming from Colorado focuses on. The law has been used only 8 times to disqualify candidates. However, it has never been used to disqualify a presidential candidate. A UNL law professor expects Trump to stay on the ballot.
I think based on oral argument, it seems very likely that Trump will win the Colorado Section 3 case so that neither Colorado nor any other state will be able to exclude him from.
A couple of challenges to Trump's appearance on primary ballots have already been discussed in state courts. The U.S. Supreme Court's ruling could have national implications for Trump and the outcome of the election.
Well, police arrested a Lincoln man after he trespassed in a hospital. He is accused of sexually assaulting a nurse. After being discharged from Bryan West on early Tuesday, Ricard Gardy was told to leave. When police arrived after being called at 6 a.m., Gardy said he was waiting until the sun came up to leave the hospital. When police spoke to his nurses, they reported that Gardy made inappropriate comments and touched them inappropriately. Police charged him with 4 misdemeanors, which he pled not guilty. Gardy's bond is being set at $4,500, and he will appear in court on March 19th.
Lincoln Public Schools is responding to the Department of Justice, who is calling on the school district to make changes to its treatment of students who are deaf and hard of hearing. An investigation finds the district violating federal law. A letter from the DOJ to LPS says the district assigns deaf and hard of hearing students who the district believes need American Sign Language interpretation to a specific elementary, middle, or high school, designated for students who are deaf. The letter says this blanket policy does not consider the individualized needs of deaf and hard of hearing students, denies students an equal opportunity to participate in LPS neighborhood school and high school choice programs, is unnecessary to provide equally effective aids, benefits, and services, and has denied effective communication to deaf students. The DOJ says the school district follows the policy for administrative convenience. A press release from Disability Rights Nebraska says the investigation was launched after they submitted a complaint on behalf of an LPS elementary school student who was told she couldn't attend her neighborhood school and instead would have to commute at least 25 minutes away to her designated cluster school. This isn't the only student that DOJ or Disability Rights Nebraska says is impacted. The DOJ says one student commutes an extra 90 minutes each day because of the policy. The district sent out a statement saying they are reviewing the findings and will work collaboratively with the DOJ to resolve concerns.
A bill to prohibit teaching diversity theories at Nebraska colleges is at the committee level in the State House. Earlier this week, students, administrators, and community members testified against the bill. Senator Dave Merman from Glenville introduced the bill, and if it becomes a law, universities and community colleges would not be able to teach theories of gender identity, social justice, and sexual privilege.
working students benefit from being exposed to diverse perspectives, which fosters a sense of belonging while enhancing critical thinking, problem-solving skills, teamwork, and leadership development, skills that students need to thrive as well-rounded citizens.
Senator Merman says the bill is needed so students and employees do not feel pressured by a faculty member's ideology. No votes have been taken on the bill, and the Education Committee also discussed a bill to eliminate tenure.
More than 35% of full-time faculty at Nebraska colleges and universities are tenured. This is a form of job protection where it becomes more difficult to eliminate a faculty member's position. Nebraska Senator Lauren Lippincott says that eliminating tenure would get rid of underperforming faculty, but interim university system president Chris Kaborik disagrees.
Very simple. Eliminating tenure would tie both hands behind our back at the very time our university is setting high aspirations to go compete with the best of the best across the country.
Several faculty advocacy groups like the American Association of University Professors oppose the bill. No votes have been taken on this bill either.
Well, it's now time for our 1-minute Nebraska Roundup with Nebraska Nightly's Noah Carmichael.
While the Railroad Safety Act Bill LB 1212 is being looked over by a committee in the Nebraska legislature, another train accident happened this week. 3 locomotives and 57 cars derailed in Cairo, Nebraska. There are no injuries and the primary cargo is coal. Governor Pillen will be reversing the decision his administration made back in December. The new action will help low-income families with nutritional guides, summer school for kids, and additional food aid for children throughout the summer months. As meetings are being held, students are hitting the streets this week to bring awareness to the low incomes many graduate students receive. Students want lower health care costs, lower student fees, higher stipends, and better working conditions.
Thank you, Noah. Lincoln saw its first snow in a few weeks, and meteorologist Logan Schlotman knows what's in store for this weekend. Logan?
What's going to be in store for this weekend is we're going to be seeing those temperatures start increasing back and tons of sunshine too with our satellite and radar across the country. A lot of clouds and a lot of some more snow, especially from Missouri all the way over to Indiana, where that system went through earlier this morning, giving some places multiple inches of snow and some places just traces of an inch of snow. I'll be back talking about more weather soon, right after the break.
Great, thank you, Logan. Well, coming up after the break.
An Omaha man is a hero in Kansas City.
Donald Trump returns to the courtroom.
And gas prices have increased once again, all after the break.
Okay, so how about this much?
I don't know.
Well, how about this much?
I don't know.
How about...
Actually, I don't know.
Okay, maybe this much?
I don't know.
The very tip of your pencil, a fraction of a raindrop, 3 grains of salt. That's how much it takes for a dose of fentanyl to become lethal. Learn more at realdealonfentanyl.com.
3, 2, 1.
This is Nebraska Nightly.
If you're a student at UNL and have ever been interested in reporting or video production, Nebraska Nightly is your place.
Big boss!
Here you can build creative skills, no matter how much experience you have.
Our equipment is very, very high level here, and it's something that a lot of times a lot of people wouldn't get to access until they're kind of in a professional workspace.
Talk to a UNL advisor about joining Nebraska Nightly.
Welcome back. After a few weeks of spring-like weather, it's finally feeling like February. Logan, when are we getting that springtime feeling back?
Most likely the next couple days, but what we're feeling right now is actual February temperatures for this time of year with 30 degrees in Lincoln, a north 17-mile-per-hour wind, a little breezier than we've seen the past couple days, bringing that wind chill all the way down to 18 degrees currently. With temperatures across the statewide, they're going to be a little bit cooler than what's in Lincoln, some places in the mid-20s and some even in the upper teens. With 30 in Lincoln, 28 in Omaha, 22 in Norfolk, and clear out over to the Panhandle in the Sandhills area, 16 in Ellsworth, and then 19 over in Scottsbluff. The satellite and radar I was showing earlier, we still see that snow bands that are going to be going from Missouri all the way over to the Indiana-Ohio border, and a couple of clouds that are also zooming into Nebraska as well. That's still keeping a lot of those cooler temperatures here as well, with some little bit of some precipitation over in the Cheyenne area that's probably going to dissipate and not bring a lot of moisture over into the capital city. Futurecast radar is going to be bringing in no precipitation over in the statewide area, maybe a little bit over in this Sand Hills area, the Panhandle, but nothing over in Lincoln as well. And we'll see that especially for our rain chances for those next 7 days. 7 zeros in a row. Saturday all the way to Friday, 0%. So it's going to be very dry for the next week or so. Snow totals, though, we saw for today throughout that morning system. Lincoln got about a trace of some snow. Omaha got 0.7 inches, while Norfolk and O'Neill, the more in the northeast region, got 1 inch. But where it was really hit the most is if you were in those Sand Hills and the Panhandle areas, where at least Scottsbluff got 3.5 inches in today's morning snow. And going from snow over into warmer temperatures, the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, what we're going to be seeing for the rest of February is really a high percentage of above average temperatures for the rest of the week. So just not this week where we see high temperatures, but the week after, which is going to be the 23rd, all the way over into Leap Day, which is the 29th. While tonight, the low is going to be around 18 degrees with a northwest wind of around 9 to 14 miles per hour. The clouds are going to be decreasing throughout the night, and gusts are going to be all the way up to around 22 miles per hour. While tomorrow, we're going to be seeing a high of 44 degrees, and it's going to start around 20 degrees at 6 a.m. before slowly kicking up to 42 at around 3 p.m., which we're going to be hitting that high at around probably 4 p.m. It's going to be a very crisp day, while gusts are going to be as high as almost 27 miles per hour. And look at this for our 7-day forecast. Sunshine every single day, maybe a little bit of some clouds on some days, mainly on Thursday. Those temperatures are going to be rising from the mid-40s all the way up to some low 60s, especially on Tuesday with a high of 62 before we sink down with a little bit of a cold front that's still going to bring those above average temperatures to 54 on Wednesday, and we'll start rising up back into Friday with 57 degrees. I'm Logan Schlabman with the weather, and we'll take it right back to the desk.
Thank you, Logan. People are praising a Bellevue man for tackling the suspected shooter in the Wednesday Kansas City shooting. At the end of the Kansas City Chiefs parade celebration, shots were fired, killing 1 person and wounding 22. So far, police say it appears the shooting began because of a personal dispute. The Bellevue man took one of the suspected shooters to the ground and held him until the police took over. 3 people are in custody. The investigation is ongoing.
And what's the future for U.S. national security and leadership in the world? Well, answering that question might be difficult, but top U.S. leaders are giving it a shot today. The U.S. is facing its own national security and global concerns as leaders attend the Munich Security Conference. The talks come as the Pentagon is trying to allay fears about Russian advancements in anti-satellite technology. At the same time, Senators Lindsey Graham and Tim Scott are visiting the southern border today to highlight the need for immigration legislation. As for foreign aid, a bill supporting Ukraine and Israel passed through the Senate, but its future in the House remains unclear. The bill also contains humanitarian assistance for civilians in Gaza.
The start date for one of the criminal trials of former President Donald Trump is now set. The judge in Trump's hush money case in New York ordered jury selection to begin on March 25th, after refusing to dismiss the charges. Trump was in the courtroom, and so was CNN's Kara Chanel. A New York State judge ordering Donald Trump to stand trial for criminal charges
next month.
Instead of being in South Carolina and other states campaigning, I'm stuck here.
This case related to a hush money repayment scheme involving porn star Stormy Daniels and former Trump fixer Michael Cohen will begin on March 25th.
There is no case.
It's a historic first, a former president facing a jury and on trial in the middle of a presidential campaign.
How can you run for election and be sitting in a courthouse in Manhattan all day long?
The judge in this case, Juan Merchan, made the decision after consulting with Judge Tanya Chutkin, who is overseeing the election subversion case in Washington, D.C. During a pre-trial hearing in New York, Trump attorney Todd Blanche seized on that unprecedented timing, protesting for a delay. "We strenuously object to what is happening in this courtroom," he told the judge, with Trump's eyes locked on his attorney. The fact that President Trump is going to now spend the next 2 months working on this trial instead of out in the campaign trail running for president is something that should not happen in this country. Judge Merchan asked, "What's your legal argument?" "That's my legal argument," Blanche said. That's not a legal argument, Mershon replied, telling the lawyers he'd see them on March 25th.
We'll just have to figure it out. I'll be here during the day and I'll be campaigning during the night.
This case stems from actions that took place in the days before the 2016 election, when Donald Trump, former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker, and Michael Cohen allegedly schemed to keep Stormy Daniels from going public about an affair. According to the indictment, Cohen paid $130,000 in hush money to Stormy Daniels, then submitted sham legal bills to the Trump Organization, which the former president reimbursed with a series of monthly checks.
I did it at the direction of, in concert with, and for the benefit of Donald J. Trump.
Today, the parties debated questions to ask prospective jurors. An 18-person jury will ultimately be seated. Trump's lawyers wanted to delve into politics, telling the judge they need to know if people like Trump. Judge Mershon called it inappropriate, saying they need fair and impartial jurors.
I'm honored to sit here day after day after day on something that everybody says, the greatest legal scholars say, it's not even a crime.
At Thursday's pretrial hearing, Judge Juan Mershon predicted the trial would go on for 6 weeks. Cameras will not be allowed in the courtroom.
Well, if you filled up your gas tank this week, you probably noticed it cost a bit more. The price of a gallon of gas went up 12 cents over the past week to reach a national average of $3.27. That may have come to a bit of a shock since prices haven't moved more than a few cents over the past few months. The good news is the supported reason for the hike is the shutdown of a massive BP refinery in Indiana. It's been offline for more than 2 weeks due to a power outage. That should be fixed soon, and with the hope that prices will start to go back down. Well, coming up after the break, Nebraska women's basketball hit the road again.
And Nebraska baseball gets their season started in Texas.
All coming up after the break. Welcome back. It's a big time in the sports season with the winter season and the spring season overlapping, and Molly Kiefer has it all. Molly?
Big Ten volleyball schedule was released yesterday morning. The Huskers will host Indiana, Michigan, Minnesota, Purdue, Rutgers, UCLA, and USC at the Bob Devaney Sports Center this year. They will travel to Maryland, Michigan State, Northwestern, Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, and Washington. The Huskers will play Illinois, Iowa, and Wisconsin twice this season, once at home and once away. After coming off a high from beating the #2 team in the nation, the Nebraska women's basketball team traveled to Ohio State for another tough Big Ten matchup. With less than 5 minutes left in the second quarter, Maddie Kroll sinks a three, cutting Ohio State's lead to 9. Ohio State is able to respond, and they go into the half with a 33-19 lead. Almost halfway through the third quarter, it's J.C. Sheldon to Cody McMahon for the layup, extending their lead to 27. It was Ohio State all night with the momentum, as they defeated the Huskers 80-47. Nebraska men's basketball takes on Penn State at Pinnacle Bank Arena tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. The Huskers won their previous meeting against the Nittany Lions 72-63. Nebraska is 15-1 at home this season and need to win the remainder of their home games to break the program record. Nebraska baseball is kicking off their season this weekend at the Shriners Children's College Showdown in Arlington, Texas. The Huskers faced Baylor this morning and came out with the win 4-1. Nebraska will take on number 21 Texas Tech tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. and will face Oklahoma Sunday morning at 10:30 to close out the weekend. The Huskers football team entered November of last season just one win away from bowl eligibility. They lost the last 3. As winter workouts are in full swing, this is one thing that the coaching staff hasn't let the players lose sight of.
Our players understanding there's an urgency in this building. When you walk in this building, like, you've got to go. And I think we made some real steps last year. I think we fixed some things, but we're still 5-7. And so we're 5-7 until we kick it off against UTEP next year. And so I want our guys understanding, like, you've got to produce every day and you've got to win. And that's the culture. The culture is everybody has to do it for us to be successful. And I think we're heading in that direction.
Maybe the off season, but there is never an off season for Coach Matt Rule, so I'm excited to see what this football season will bring.
That's what I love about Nebraska is football season really never ends. We're already getting excited about it in February, so it's just the best.
It'll be a great time. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Molly. Coming up after the break.
Star Wars Orchestra comes back to Lincoln.
And Maha gets canceled.
And a Valentine's Day surprise, all after the break.
Need for blood never stops. And at the Nebraska Community Blood Bank, your blood could help save lives. Right now, only 7% of the population donates blood. But imagine if there were more.
We're sitting at below a 7-day level of supply of all blood types across the board. So every blood type is important, and we need all donors of all types to come in and donate right now.
At the Nebraska Community Blood Bank, they believe that all types make a strong blood supply.
Okay, so how about this much?
I don't know.
Well, how about this much?
I don't know.
How about,
Actually, I don't know.
okay, maybe this much?
I don't know.
The very tip of your pencil, a fraction of a raindrop, 3 grains of salt. That's how much it takes for a dose of fentanyl to become lethal. Learn more at realdealonfentanyl.com.
There's so many events going on in Lincoln and Omaha this weekend. Priscilla Castaneda has all the details. Priscilla?
The Star Wars Orchestra strikes back tonight at the Lee Center. Music from all 9 main Star Wars movies, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, Solo, The Mandalorian, and more. Tickets are $40 and 17 years old and under are $5. Don't be a Wookiee and let's blow the roof out of the center. The International Championship of Collegiate of Acapella Southwest quarterfinal is at the Bourbon Theater this year. The riff-off is tomorrow at 7 p.m. and doors open at 6:15. Each ticket is $26 and $22 for 18 and under. Maha is canceled for this year. It is set to celebrate its 16th year this summer. It is renovated Heartland at the American Park of Omaha's The Riverfront. Organizers are using 2024 as an opportunity to rework and explore options, including national partnerships. Maha plans to return in 2025. That's all for entertainment. Back to you guys at the desk.
Great, thank you, Priscilla. Well, one Florida woman could barely believe the surprise she received on Valentine's Day.
Cassidy Samoa says she was woken up early Wednesday morning to see this mess outside her Golden Gate Estates home. It turns out a bear destroyed her car at some point during the night.
Samoa says the bear ate the Valentine's candy her boyfriend put on her front seat. She also said that the door panel was ripped out and now she can't open the door or roll down the windows.
It's unclear if the bear decided to share any of the sweets with its Valentine.
I really cannot believe that happening to me. Like, it's so scary what bears are capable of. Let's take one last look at our 7-day forecast, Logan.
Today was just a tap on the shoulder to remind us that we're still in February, which is still winter, so just a little bit of snow today, but then we'll be seeing those temperatures rise back all the way up to 62 on Tuesday, bringing in those mid-60s, but then we'll be seeing it cool down a little bit, back down to the mid-50s on Wednesday before rising back up, and for the next week as well. But don't get your spring wardrobe ready just yet, because in the Midwest we do have what's called Fool Spring, so we could expect another winter storm, possibly with more snow, in the next couple weeks.
Is it possible to have multiple Full Springs? At this point, I feel like we already had it, so I'm just waiting for the real one.
Sometimes it does happen. Full Spring 1, Full Spring 2, but hopefully by the end of March and around April, we should be ready into the spring/summertime.
I'm the fool, mostly, I think, yeah. Well, thank you so much, Logan. Nebraska Nightly is a student production of the University of Nebraska's College of Journalism and Mass Communications.
Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next Tuesday at 4:30 on Nebraska Nightly.